Hi there. Welcome to the From Lab to Launch podcast by Qualio, where we share inspiring stories from the people on the front lines of life sciences. Tune in and leave inspired to bring your life-saving products to the world.
Welcome to another episode from Lab to Launch by Qualio, where we look at the exciting movers and shakers shaping the future of the life sciences industry. I'm Meg, your host, and today we welcome Kerry Love, the co-founder of Massachusetts-based and wonderfully named Sunflower Therapeutics. Established in 2018, Sunflower is dedicated to advancing biologic medicines and enhancing global vaccine accessibility through cutting-edge protein manufacturing technologies. As a woman-owned organization, Sunflower has a stellar team of scientists and engineers renowned for their expertise in perfusion fermentation, purification process development, biopharmaceutical manufacturing, and quality management. Their mission-driven approach revolves around simplifying bioproduction complexities with their modular, automated, and fully integrated platform. This transformative technology empowers innovators to swiftly manufacture critical biologic products precisely where they're needed the most. Welcome, Kerry, to the show today. I'm so excited to speak with you.
Thank you, Meg. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Can you share a little bit about your professional journey, Kerry, and what experiences led to the founding of Sunflower Therapeutics?
Yeah, sure. I am a scientist entrepreneur by background, and I'm actually from a family of entrepreneurs. So I think it was always in my blood to think about how ideas translate into kind of the commercial sphere. I moved to the Boston area to be a grad student at MIT. I'm an organic chemist by training. And it's such a rich environment at MIT that's a perfect combination of science and entrepreneurial tendencies, right? Tons of kind of rich startup culture, right? Lots of exciting things being developed and pushed out into the commercial sphere. So I think I always had a thought that I could be involved in that, but really found my passion in researching and then working toward translational development of technologies that could make an impact in health. And so I had the opportunity to work along with a team of researchers at MIT developing systems for the production of biologically derived materials on demand. That was originally a DARPA-funded program and then received some funding from the Gates Foundation. And when we got to the end of that, realized that we had a concept that really could make a huge impact, and worked with a group to take that out of MIT and ultimately spent the last 5 years of it in the private sector. And that's where we are today.
What a journey that's been from, the college labs all the way to your very own Sunflower Therapeutics. So what are the key products and applications that Sunflower Therapeutics is currently developing?
Yeah, as you mentioned in your introduction, we are experts in perfusion fermentation, right? So this is a technique and a technology that we've developed for the continuous production of protein using microbes. So what we build is the equipment and the software to control those processes to enable researchers or commercial producers to make protein in a continuous fashion, sustain those microbes in a happy place, to be doing that for as long as possible. So that's a key aspect of our technology, and that's being embodied in our Daisy Petal and Dahlia Petal perfusion bioreactor systems. So those will be our first two commercial equipment products.
And how are those specifically addressing challenges in the market as far as getting vaccines to the market?
Yeah, so they're really addressing challenges of accessibility, right? So at Sunflower, we see accessibility as a combination of effectively cost and simplicity, right? You have to be able to buy the equipment or buy the means to do it, and it needs to be easy enough that anybody can use. And so that's really what's embodied in these two systems, right? They're very cost-effective means of procuring the capital equipment necessary at a level of simplicity that really anybody can use. That's our goal, is that you don't need to have an advanced degree or be a highly trained operator. We can provide the training irrespective of your background to enable you to use this equipment to produce the kind of protein product that could become a vaccine.
Very neat. And how do your products enhance that scalability in bioprocessing?
Yeah, they're at two different scales, Meg. So the smallest system is the Daisy Petal system. It's a benchtop bioreactor system really for translation of concept from lab all the way through kind of translational development. And then the Dahlia petal is effectively a pilot system. So it's a scale that's big enough to be producing potentially hundreds of thousands of doses of a vaccine candidate for the clinical translation or ultimately commercial production of a product.
I'm sensing a theme with the flowers there. Is there a story behind the flowers?
Yeah, the sunflower concept as the business, certainly we were looking for a name that would embody a health and wellness concept, but also really intrigued by the idea that one small seed grows a huge hardy sunflower. And that really anybody anywhere can be successful in growing a sunflower, right? They grow on all the habitable continents of Earth, right? You don't need to be a gardener. Right? And that's the extension to our equipment approach. You don't need to be an expert to be successful. The DAISY system actually was originally named because it was based on the desktop automated and integrated system. It was actually an acronym that then combined down to DAISY. And then once we had that, we thought, okay, now we're in a theme. What are we going to call the big one? And a dahlia is a much bigger flower than a daisy, so that seemed to fit.
I love that. I'm a lover of flowers and a lover of themes. So I love that you fully embraced the flower analogy there. And what effects does your technology have on the ability for organizations to do facility planning and resource management?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? These are turnkey pieces of equipment. And that's really important to us because that's a critical part of accessibility as well, is being able to go into lots of different facility types. So our entire approach, both for these first products that we're talking about here, these petal systems, but also for our larger end-to-end manufacturing system, they're built around single-use componentry, right? Which means that all the product contact surfaces are part of a bespoke consumable that you actually throw away after running the process. And that's actually really important for being able to go into diverse brownfield spaces because you might not have the kind of complicated cleaning equipment or the environmental controls in that space that you would conventionally need to run a high quality regulated process. But using a single use approach with this kind of functional closure of all these contact surfaces really enables you to deploy a very high quality process to make high quality bulk protein or bulk drug substance even in a very minimal space, right? So that's super helpful when you think about kind of facility planning. You don't have to have an exceptionally complicated, highly controlled environment, right? You need the control of the people, but maybe you can use a slightly lower classification, right?
That's great. It sounds like you're solving a lot of constraints and complexity for those companies who need that solution.
The goal, Meg, right? The
Yeah.
goal is to try to make it simpler, make it turnkey, right? Yeah.
I'm a big fan of keeping it simple myself, Kerry. I love that. What strategies does Sunflower Therapeutics employ to ensure the scalability and consistency of its manufacturing processes on such a global scale?
Yeah, I think it's a really important question that you're digging into, and it has to do with quality management, right? How do we ensure that what we're building on behalf of our customers and deploying it is going to meet their needs and really deliver what we said we were going to do, right? And obviously, we're a small business, so we have to start small and build that out, work with a few customers and grow little by little. So, doing things like early access product launches is one way that we can start to understand more about our products before we do a full-scale commercial launch. So, we did that in 2022 with the Daisy Petal system, and we'll do it again for the Dahlia Petal early next year. But yeah, ultimately, we just have to have great quality management systems that enable us to manage any vendors or subcontractors that we're working with and know exactly what we're delivering to customers. Ultimately, quality is the product, Meg, not the specific pieces of equipment that we're delivering. And we want our customers to feel confident in that.
I love that you brought up quality. Being a quality professional myself, I'm always curious to hear how founders manage their quality journey with bringing their innovation to market. While we're on the topic of quality, how has it impacted your company's journey to date? And what do you think are important factors to consider when you're starting a biotech?
Yeah, obviously it depends on the space that you're interacting in, right? It depends on your market segment, Mag, right? The quality standards are different in different segments. For us, we're a vendor of equipment to regulated manufacturers, right?
Mhm.
And that's important. We have to address the kind of key quality concerns that they have to deliver the compliant approaches that they need. And we have a code of federal regulations here in the US that defines standards like 21 CFR 11 for computerized systems or 21 CFR 211 subpart D for equipment, right?
Yeah.
We've had to keep those kinds of standards top of mind right from the very beginning of kind of our equipment designs, right? Because that's what it means to be managing a kind of quality approach to delivering a future product to customers.
I love that quality from the beginning. That's so important.
It's the only way to do it. It's the same thing that I say about other like research projects, right? You plan for success, right? And you only get success by planning for it from the start, right? So want quality, you have to start doing it literally from the beginning.
That's great advice for our future entrepreneurs out there listening. Kerry, can you tell us a little about any significant partnerships or collaborations that you have that are crucial to Sunflower's strategy and growth?
Yeah, absolutely. I can. One in particular, because it was publicly announced, I guess back in the summer, we work with SK Bioscience. They are a South Korean-based vaccine developer and manufacturer, and they've been a crucial partner to us for the last couple of years. So we've been working with them on vaccine products, and that's a really exciting development, and they're great partners to work with. So that's an important one for us. We're also grantees of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and have been since 2019. And even before that, back at MIT on predecessor technologies. And they've obviously been really great support and funding for us to get to where we are today.
That's great. Congratulations on being one of those grantees.
Thank you.
And so how does Sunflower Therapeutics stay ahead in the field of protein product development and innovation?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think staying ahead is really, you have to anticipate customer needs and desires, right? And you have to do that both on the technological side, but also on the human factor side, right? Both of those things together is ultimately what makes a technology accessible and useful, right, to customers. I think being good listeners is really important, Meg, right? Kind of being out there, talking to people as much as we can and listening to what their actual pain points are so that we can go back and innovate solutions that meaningfully address real world problems.
Pivoting to back to where we talked about women-owned Sunflower, but what are some challenges that women face in the biopharma industry and what can be done to address some of those challenges, you think?
Yeah, there are myriad challenges, Meg, for women in diverse market segments, right? Certainly in biomanufacturing and biopharmaceuticals, just underrepresentation overall, particularly when we talk about small businesses or biotechs, right? It's a very small percentage of biotechs that actually have certainly female CEOs, but even C-suite members or board members. I think just acknowledging that and working to increase representation is really helpful. I can certainly see even in my own staff, it's helpful to my staff when they look ahead in their career path and they see someone who looks like them. And if you're a female scientist, that's probably another woman, depending on your vantage point. And I just think that can be super, super helpful. So I think that's one area. Obviously, other aspects of women's lives come into play as we move forward in our own career paths, right? Some of us choose to be moms, and it's really important to be able to be flexible to what it's like to raise a family or what it's like to caregive for aging family members. That burden also often falls on the women in families, and we need to be sensitive to that and to what people's kind of needs are outside of the workplace so that they can really give the workplace their best.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for all industries on how we can lift women up and across the board and where we're underrepresented in those industries. Great. And what are your long-term goals for Sunflower Therapeutics? Where are you seeing your growth in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I would say that's a near-term, midterm time. To be honest, I have very big long-term goals for the business in 10 to 20 years. But in the next 3 to 5 years, I want to see us get some really good traction with these products, particularly in the global South and with vaccine developers. I think what we have in our current commercial product offering is truly impactful to the production of vaccines like viral-like particles and other subunit concepts. So I really want to see that adoption occur. And I want to see Sunflower continue to be agile, as we just talked about, to true customer needs, to continue to build up our kind of equipment portfolio or portfolio of products and services so that we're continuing to address those real world needs that the industrial and commercial participants have, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys do in the next few years, the short term and long term. What lessons from your journey would you share with aspiring biotech entrepreneurs getting started?
Yeah, it's a hard road, right? I started my first business when I was in my early 30s and I was really impatient. It's hard to be patient, right? Especially if you're someone who's really passionate and intense. You want things to move quickly, you want to make an impact quickly. And those are really, that's an important way to go, but you have to be patient, right? You have to be able to balance the operational activities of the day to day with what can actually occur and be uptaken in the field. So I think patience is probably the most important thing I could share. And being patient in this particular business, I think has really helped us to become a sustainable business.
Oh. What impact did COVID have for Sunflower? Did that kind of drive some more needs there? I wonder if that timing might have helped, like that being patient with COVID may have helped.
Yeah, and it really did. Just knowing that we needed to be patient was helpful because things just were not moving at the speed that we wanted them to be. I took this job literally a month before COVID as the CEO. We had co-founded the business about a year and a half earlier, but I didn't necessarily have the intention of being CEO at that point, and then joined the business in this capacity. And surprise, right? We had the pandemic and I was here working in my house for the next 2 years. We just had to be agile to new ways of working together as a team and trying to do that obviously remotely and in a way where we could keep everybody on the team safe, but making progress and being really aggressive. There were some other things that were challenging about COVID just on our industry overall, right? A lot of, for example, bioprocessing materials, like single-use materials, things like tubing or plastics or like bags for fluid were just infinitely back ordered. Yeah. So again, it goes back to that patience thing. What are you going to do? You've got to make progress, but sometimes you just literally have to be patient for the things you need. So I think that was a good reinforcement of that lesson.
Great. Patience and quality from the beginning. Some great lessons here, Kerry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our last question is more of a fun one. I like to ask each of our guests if we ran into you at the bookstore or at your local library, in what section would we find you, Kerry?
I think you would find me in the mystery section. I have maybe it's obvious, a really overactive brain. And so I need some like complicated things to take my mind in another direction and give me some escapism, but I still like problem solving even when I'm reading for pleasure. So I definitely read a lot of mysteries.
Still trying to solve the mystery before you get to the end of the book, I'm sure.
I definitely am. I'm not actually that good at it. Writers are really impressive at how they veil what's really going on in the book. So but I love it when they trick me. That's kind of part of the fun, right?
Great. It was so great to meet you and speak with you today, Kerry. Where can our listeners go to follow along with your journey and find out more about you and Sunflower Therapeutics?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Meg. We have a website, right? So sunflowertx.com. We've got lots of great materials there, technical, non-technical, things about accessibility, things about perfusion fermentation. But we also have a YouTube channel with lots of great videos about sunflower that can really help, particularly non-experts, know more. And we have a LinkedIn channel. So follow us and you can keep track of all the exciting developments that we're having as a business. Yeah.
Terrific. Thanks, Kerry. We'll get those posted in the show notes and we'll be following along to see all the great things you do for Sunflower.
Thank you so much, Meg. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, Kerry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of From Lab to Launch, brought to you by Qualio. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe and give the show a positive review. It really helps us out. For more information about Qualio, our guest today, or to be a guest on a future episode, please refer to the show notes. Until next time.